GM1 and all. Thank you for coming to the All Hands Meet. And today is our weekly All Hands for May 14th. And we're going to use this time to sync up on what's going on around BCard, eliminate blockers, and prioritize our work for the next week. Just FYI, this call is recorded, and clips can sometimes be shared on social. So if you don't want to be shared, just let me know. So in case you wonder what we do, we help purpose-driven communities use Web3 tooling to generate revenue and engagement. And on the like metric side, low week this week, had 87 transaction volume, down 193. Did have quite a bit of loaded. So that's great. I actually need to reload my card too. So that's why I didn't spend this week. I spent it all in New York. But yeah, we had quite a bit loaded this week, 520. So yeah, not bad at all, which will eventually get spent. On the lead metric side, we have 2 weekly transacting users, 0 new users, and 0 communities deployed. As we're kind of in a building phase right now, looking at what we're up to next, we do have a campaign with Glow Dollar coming out soon. So please engage with it when it comes out to maximize our reach, especially on platforms like X and LinkedIn. It's true it's going to help on Farcaster too. But in general, it's like all timing. When you get a couple good engagements, and by engage, I mean not just like, but go ahead and potentially comment or recast with your own thoughts, retweet with your own thoughts. Those are the kinds of things that gets the algorithm to pick it up as trending, and then it will show it to more people. So it really maximizes our reach when we engage with it, and I think that will come out. I don't know when it's going to come out actually. NF Thicker, any updates on that?
On the Glow Dollar campaign?
Yeah, in terms of timing.
Oh, in terms of timing, it looks like they're ready to go. So if we can wrap it up during this hour, that would be perfect within the next hour. But definitely today at some point. So Bram has added the tags to the tweet. He sent us a link to a Typefully where he's got the tweet all loaded up there. Has links to you and me. I don't know if you want those personal links in there, Al and a thinker.
Yeah, I don't really need them. I don't think personally. I would rather just send all traffic to BCard as much as possible. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then the LinkedIn post is short and sweet. I don't know if I can actually share my screen without.
You can.
I'm on mobile at the minute.
Oh, okay. No, it's okay. I mean, I just want to know timing, but just look for that today is kind of like the output for this, right?
Yep.
All right, great. So look for that today. Team-wide announcements. We're also looking at some standard bounties for new joiners to be able to contribute. So we had some already kind of decided. That's what these are. Card designs, 2.5K B card. You may think that this only comes up when we have a new community, but if you see an old community that you'd like to redesign the card, honestly, do it, right? It's not. I don't think it's a bad thing for us to have multiple card designs and potentially change card designs as things happen. On the article side, 6.5 thousand B card for writing, 3,000 for editing, and 2.5 for cover art. On the email side, 2,000 for writing, 2,000 for coordination, so like shipping it. And looking for people to start calling nonprofits. Anyone who gets us a new nonprofit will get some BCard tokens. I'm thinking like 10,000 BCard. Does that make sense? I don't know. That's kind of a question, but I feel like it's in that ballpark. It's highly valuable for the organization.
Yeah, it's good to have a hefty bounty or something substantial for that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I'll put those bounties on Discord as well, so it's easier for people who are just dropping into the Discord to kind of find them. But the intent is for us to basically have a list of kind of standard bounties. These are always going to be useful to us, and you can do them whenever, just as a way for new joiners to get their feet wet, to start contributing, and kind of reduce the time to contribution, and hopefully reduce the time to getting BCard tokens. So we'll see. Going down into our milestone perspective, again, our goal is to create revenue and engagement for these communities. So for weekly transacting users, we're really focusing on getting new users. We're kind of heads down on this. On the community pages side, Tom and I have had a little bit of trouble getting privy work cross site. Honestly, we were kind of vibe coding it, or at least I was. I think maybe Tom was taking it a little bit more seriously than me. But today I have a little bit of time to get into it a little bit deeper and look at how we can do it. I did get onto the Privy support site as well, the support chat, and ask them a couple of questions. So I think that I at least have the knowledge that I need to make it happen. Now it's really just the hours to make sure that it works. So we will try to get those going. I know Tom is working on one front, and I'm working on another. We're kind of both working on the same problem with two separate potential solutions, and we'll hopefully, at least one of us will figure it out. So that's the intent behind it. If we figure it out, it's really going to open up our ability to experiment on a lot of different kinds of Web3 integrations. Because no matter what site we create, we'll be able to let the user use their existing Privy wallet, which I think would be really cool. So, if we create a website and it's kind of cool but doesn't really work, okay, well, we can go over to a new website, and that's just fine. So we'll have to see, but that's kind of how we're looking right now. On the in-app voting and endowment fund, the April snapshot is up, although I have neglected to share it to socials. Luckily, it is a 2-week voting window. If you have bank tokens, you have votes. If you have Black Flag tokens, you have votes. If you have any of the vault tokens, so I think it's like BFWETH and Prize USDC, then you have votes. And so in general, a lot of different kinds of people have votes. And I'll share those to social so we can get some votes up. It is already in your BCard app, so you should be able to see it already in there. And yeah, if you're using BCard, you can vote right in the app itself, and you all have voting power. Next up, we're going to try to distribute those Black Flag tokens more widely. And there's a couple ways that we're going to do that. I won't get into it right now. I'm actually also meeting with Merkle Manufactory today. So they are the people who make Farcaster. And while I was at FarCon, I kind of poked the community leader over there and browbeat her into giving me a meeting so that I can pitch her on the idea of these in real life events. In general, she's already bought into the idea that in real life events are a way for Farcaster to kind of get new people, and that really helps us if we're trying to increase the reach of our community as well. Like a co-brand with Farcaster would be really great, because there are events that are going on every month. And that's a good thing. Also, I should write a proposal for nouns. It's just never been top of mind. If anyone wants to write a proposal for nouns, we can also put a bounty on that. Any questions on community pages or the endowment fund? Nope. All right. Getting to 10 high quality communities. The Glow Dollar and Chippy email. Glow is ready to go. As we you ever get that cover image for ChippyCon done?
Yeah, I just actually messaged Drost about that today. And so I will work with him on that. Correct, Drost?
Yeah, I should be available today.
Awesome.
And I do see your DM just now.
All right. Yeah, so if we get that out, then we can have the email ready to go, and then we're ready to press send when Glow Dollar is ready to press send. And then I will add everyone here, and hopefully we can get a little bit of engagement on that post. On the sales pipeline, I started looking into a little bit more mid-sized nonprofits like Strong Towns. I really liked the way that they had their membership structure, which I'll just mention now. So they have like I forget what they're actually using. What was it? They're using something called Fundraise Up. And so basically, you can give a monthly gift from your credit card, or you can give a one-time gift, and you are a member from 1 year of your last contribution. So if you give a one-time gift, you have a 1-year membership, no matter. Oh, you can't hear me? I shouldn't talk if you guys can't hear me. Can you hear me?
No, I hear you.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I hear you.
Shelby, you okay? You can hear me?
So weird, I can't hear him. I can hear you guys, but not Lynx.
You know what? Let me try to exit and come back, and maybe you can do the same
I'm
thing,
gonna leave
Shelby.
and come back.
Okay.
So,
I hear
in
you
case you
fine,
didn't
Shelby.
hear Shelby, Lynx is leaving and coming back.
Oh, I did not hear. Thank you.
Oh, yeah,
All
sorry.
right,
I did that. Figured
I'm
you'd
back.
have noticed as he dropped out, and he's back now.
Can you hear
Can you
me?
hear him?
And now I can hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, sometimes Discord does that. Anyways, they are using this platform called Fundraise Up, which is really interesting. You are a member from from 1 year of your last contribution. So if you do a one-time donation, you get a year membership, no matter how much it is. And if you do a monthly donation, then you are also a member from the last time, up to a year from the last time you donated. And then they have like higher tiers if you donate like above $500. So it's really an interesting kind of platform. It is a smaller group than some of the ones that we've been calling, and as a result, I think that the people who are running the not-for-profit are a little bit more accessible. At least we'll see. So that was kind of it was interesting looking into these smaller ones. We're also working on our own community. So Arkisty's working on that historical accounting. And sorry, I see some people are chatting, but I don't have my chat window open, so let me pop it open. So what are the benefits of membership for Strong Towns? So Strong Towns, let's just go to here. So if you go here, Strong Towns, and you go into about, let's say, become a member. So you have a Strong Town member. It's really, you start to get like access to videos and courses. Like the point of, oh, I'm not sharing my screen again.
Yeah.
Of course. That's such a linked thing to do, to just jump headlong into the next topic before I and get excited before I do anything else. But in general, it gives you access to things like their courses. The point of Strong Towns is to help people advocate against like the kind of city building culture that we have right now, which is really just like heavy highways and less walkable cities. So it's really like advocating for walkable cities and that kind of thing. And they give people tools to advocate for it. So if you become a member, you get access to their video libraries, their courses. They have like a conference called Local Motive, and so you can get reduced entry into Local Motive. They essentially have like a weekly community call, like we have, and to get access, you have to become a member, and then invitations to local events as well. And so that's kind of like the baseline membership. And then when you go one more up, you get like exclusive merch, you get some priority coaching and that kind of things as well. So it is it's definitely interesting, and you're getting value for the dollars, right? And this already exists for a lot of, let's say, smaller communities. While the larger communities, I think like uh, yeah, I don't know. I see this as kind of like a newer nonprofit model, if that makes sense. Anyways, I thought it was really interesting as I was looking deeper into it, and I was just like thinking like, well, actually, BCard fits quite well into this kind of ecosystem, right? Because you can potentially become a member through getting a BCard and donating um, your interchange revenues. Anyways, still thinking on that, but I did think it was rather interesting. So thanks for asking that question, Al. Um, yep, and working on our own community. So we're working on historical accounting. The hope is to get all of the older stuff out so that we can kind of get into a new, more, let's say, tactical or more responsive way of getting people tokens. One of our core hypotheses is the fact that tokens will create a little bit of engagement. And so we really want to be sure that we're able to do that too. We want to utilize our own, like we want to dog food our own ideas so that we can become a case study in and of ourselves. And so that's what we're aiming to do. We'll talk a little bit about this, a little bit more about this in the discussion. But did you want to get any, did you have any updates on this, Arkisti?
No, yeah, no updates on it.
Okay, cool. Let's get into the task perspective. So I'll pop open Asana here. Going down, we have Glow Dollar that's coming out this week. I'll put it up the top here because we're gonna. And so let me just put communication perspective. Actually, you're already on there. Okay, nice. So I'll leave it here for now. A calm perspective. And I'll put it at the top because we have to do a bunch of stuff for it. Leave it there. And I think that you already gave an. I mean, did you want to give an update on that NF Thinker? You are muted. There you
Sorry
go.
about that. Give an update specifically on Glow Dollar campaign for here. Well, Bram just he says he's ready. Basically, I'm trying to get logged into the Twitter account right now. So I'm logged in on my phone, but it's a lot easier for me to do this on my computer. So I am in the vault grabbing the thing. I don't know if I'm going to need an OTP. Do you have that set up for Get BCard?
Maybe, maybe not, but I do have my phone here. So
Okay, I'm gonna try and log in like right now, basically, and then I'll get that our tweet ready to go, and we'll push ours before they push theirs. I think is that protocol. I don't know if there's like some sort of who should go first.
yeah, it doesn't really matter to me, but if it matters to you, you just make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'll get it done, and then if anybody clicks on the link to our profile, it's already out. So yeah, I'll tell them to hang tight while I get the posts out, and then did I publish that email as well?
Yep. I can do the email.
Oh,
I'll do it
yeah,
right
yeah,
after this call.
right. I was confusing paragraph, and that's already published.
Yeah, the paragraph's already published, but not the chippy one. But the Glow Dollar one is out. Worst case, I can remove the chippy one and we can add it later.
No, I think I think we should be able to get the chippy email ready to rock like shortly. So that should be good to go.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah, we can send the email after the Twitter and LinkedIn campaigns are out.
Okay.
Okie doke.
Nice. All right. So look for that right after this call, everyone. Thanks for that update. Community pages, milestone 1. I kind of already said this, but Tom had put it in this testing privy client handling. So we had some test issues, but yeah, so we didn't get it to the point where we needed to be to have that kind of like cross domain, cross product, let's call it, login. So next steps, links, try to get the React SDK working, and Tom, continue working using the REST API. And so that's kind of what we're doing right now. Hopefully by the end of this week, we'll have our desired solution. Community leader research. Honestly, I was just getting more into these like kind of. I was inspired by Strong Towns and some other small communities. So that is kind of what I was doing. I think we'll talk about it a little bit more as we get into the discussion. The sales pipeline in general, I think we need to just have like a list of nonprofits to call or reach out to. Doesn't always need to be calling. We could reach out to them like on their socials, through email, that kind of thing. However it takes, but I think that the key is to have that list of targets, which is what I started working on with the community leader research, and I didn't really finish it. So we'll see how far I get today. But I'm going to prioritize the community pages milestone. Ensure everyone with a BCard at the event gets an NFT. So, Jose, this was essentially the last step on this is the cover image, and then we will send out that email, hopefully along with the Glow Dollar one today. Make it easy for tokens to get to contributors. Well, the next step on that is to do the historical accounting, and then we can probably potentially use splits to play with some of this stuff as we go. Black Flag Endowment Fund. Speaking of splits, one of the things I thought was that potentially I could be withdrawing the yield to our splits account, just so we can kind of test how that works and potentially get it going a little bit better there. We'll see. I already withdrew the April to our multi-sig, so I think it's fine for now. Can anyone hear me now?
Yes, can hear you now.
Okay. Whew. I actually tried to leave and come back, but my PFP stayed there, and my sharing screen stayed there, and so I was just like, I'm gonna have to quit Discord and reopen it. Anyways, that could have gone better. Anyways, Drost, do you have an update on the DSI AMA?
Yes, I kind of blew myself away when I was playing with just scripted some major changes like in the last couple of weeks, and you can now animate a still image as a speaking avatar. And
Wow.
anyway, so I did that with Kimberly's really shitty X PFP photo. It was really actually not shitty. It's just low resolution, and that's the only image I could find of her. It's the same image that's on their website. Anyway, I used that and I applied it to the and I can't show it to you because I fucked it up. But I'll explain that in just a second. But what you can do is attach that a photo. They first of all they have built-in avatars. But anyway, I took Kimberly's photo and attached it to the transcribed audio, and it was pretty amazing.
Really?
She's speaking from that really crappy just PFP photo. So if I can get a better, first of all, I was nervous about publishing it because we didn't get permission from her to do that, and it is her image speaking.
Yep, absolutely.
And so it's very cool, but A, I want to get her permission. And secondly, if we can get a better photo, I can make it look really cool. But I do have a sample I can show you. What you have to do is generate the avatar last, because if you change anything at all in the transcription, it breaks the avatar.
That makes
And I
sense.
just learned that before I exported it. But I can show you a sample of what I've done, but I would rather share it privately because it's a little scary.
Okay. Share it with me, and then we can potentially send it over privately to Kimberly and see what she thinks.
Okay. Great. But yeah, we can certainly do stuff like that if we're wanting to take just audio, and if we have an image of somebody and they agree to do it. It's very cool. But I mean, I know we're seeing that everywhere, but I want to be really careful with it because you can make people say things they never did, and I just want to make sure we get all the proper permissions on doing stuff like that.
Yep, makes a lot of sense. It's we're in new territory now, so we may as well
For sure.
be careful about it. Let's behave impeccably.
And as
Cool.
far as your
Yeah.
comments and NFs on that, I did chunk. There's trying to break it down, and there's a couple of different variations we can do. So anyway, I got some samples to show you. Just didn't want to flood you with breakdowns. And then, like I said, that avatar was scary, and I was nervous about sharing it too. So anyway, I'll share that with you a little bit later, privately.
Sweet. All right. Great. Thanks for that update. And let's get back into what do we ship this week. And of course, I forgot to fill this in before the meeting started, as is tradition. Okay, so last week, Links put out the monthly stats on socials. Tom sent. Okay, so we'll just put monthly chores. Tom and Links did monthly chores. So Tom sent out the monthly emails and the rewards to embedded wallets. Nice. All right. Links put up the Black Flag Collective April snapshot. All right. So for in real life events, we have that snapshot up. Rainus and Links recorded a podcast. That was on Rainus's podcast. That should come out, I think, late May, he said. Tom and Links worked on privy stuff. In general, I would say this is mainly the Tom show. He did a lot more than me on this. Tom tested out the REST API method. Link is testing the React SDK. method. So we're working on that. And grossed output and audiogram of OMF AMA, or let's say the DSI AMA, and NF Thinker coordinated our campaign with Glow Dollar, go out today. Anything else that we ship that's not on here? I mean, it's something that I don't want to take this for granted. Winverse shipped our weekly meeting video on YouTube. So reliable, Winverse. I want to make sure that I capture that every week, actually. Anything else that we shipped this week that we should put up on here? All right. Okay, couple discussion. So Elle says she appreciates the recordings. Told you that people review it. Winverse actually had a bunch of people. At no less than 3 people in the last couple of weeks. But like in the last couple of years, probably 10 to 15 people tell me that they look at the recordings. So just so you know, Winverse, you're doing extremely important work. All right. A couple of discussion items. One of the things I'm noticing when I'm talking to communities is that whole we take 50%, you take 50% thing, it's hard to explain, and it's for such low stakes right now that it feels like it's better for us to just give 100% of earnings to the community for now. So we can revisit it when we're earning more than 1 million monthly transaction volume, which would be 1,000 a month. But in essence, I think we should just give 100% of the interchange revenue that we get to communities. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah, actually, it makes sense to me.
All right. So
I always wondered about that because it is. I agree with you. It's just such a low number. 50% of a small. Yeah, it's not compelling. Let's put it that way.
yeah, it's not compelling, and it's hard to explain. I think is the bigger thing. Like I think
Yeah.
people are like, okay, that's fine, but like they're okay with any amount because it's free and it's 0 before, right? But they're also just like, so how do I tell this to my members? Like, what do I say to them? I don't get it. How can I explain this? And me explaining it to them is hard enough, but them explaining it to their members is even harder. Any opposite opinion on this, that we shouldn't do this? Okay, so the one thing that this has changed, I know Tom is listening but unable to speak, but Tom, I'll probably have to look at the code that we actually use to send out rewards or calculate rewards and just change that whole 50% thing, which I had you put in the first place. So that's kind of the action out of this. Sorry. Excuse me. So really there's a couple things here. One, action, update the app so it gives full fee to users. And then the second thing is update support site to show that 100% goes to communities. All right. Make this orange, otherwise I will forget. And I'll put those into Asana when I get a chance. All right. The second thing I want to talk about a little bit is it was pumping me up. It was pumping me up to look at some of these smaller communities like Strongtown. Like Strongtown was really interesting to me because I was looking at some of these bigger communities, and it seemed like it was really like not a business, but I just didn't feel as like they like as a potential donator, like we mattered as much, right? Like they would send us to a call center. The call center would kind of like really focus on getting your credit card number. And so it was really like, okay, like, is this how it's going? Right. Like for these like kind of like older, let's call them older, nonprofits, but OMF is a relatively new nonprofit and Strong Towns is a relatively new nonprofit. And the way that they are interacting with us is a lot different. And I'm wondering if it's like kind of like that innovator's dilemma. Anyways, it got me to start looking into community a little bit more. And one of the things that I want to share with you was some of the research that I was doing, um, just reminding us why we exist in the first place. We really exist to enable community, to empower community. That term, bottom up community building, grassroots community building, whatever you want to call it, that is really the way that communities are forming now. There are kind of like a lot of these legacy communities that are top down, that are like institutional communities, we might call them. And it turns out that that's not the way that people are building communities right now, like, and for various reasons. I mean, like, let's look at some of these stats. Volunteering is down, right? Only 23% of adults volunteer now, which is a historic low, versus like 35% in the previous 5 decades. It has been like pretty constant. We had like 25 to 29 to 35%, and then all of a sudden in the last couple of years, it's gone down to 23%. Loneliness is rising at an alarming rate. So 1 in 2 adults report being sometimes or always lonely. I think it's something like 34% who have like critical loneliness, like they're just like they always feel lonely, which is like honestly kind of heartbreaking. I mean, not just kind of, it is heartbreaking when you think about it. In 1985, that was only 20% of people. So there's still lonely people, but now it seems like there's just tons of lonely people. Like half of us are just lonely, right? And that's not good. Um, Community banks are disappearing. A 70% decline since the 1980s. I was really surprised at this stat. I did not think that it was this low, especially since I've noticed that like co-ops have been rising, right? But yeah, community banks, which means that like kind of like local financial needs, they're not really taken into account, right? And so you see that as well in like local businesses. There are 30% of local businesses are closing, um, more than they were before the pandemic. Um, County libraries are closing. Trust in online spaces is plummeting. Algorithms and that kind of thing. It's really just turned into kind of like a hellhole online. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Maybe it's just me, but it's not just me because apparently there are stats to back us up. Also, trust in local government falling. Only 16% of people trust their local government right now, and that was 77% of people in 1964. And so, what a precipitous decline we have had indeed. It's been um, I describe this as essentially the fall of community. We used to have these third spaces. Basically, you have your home, you have your work, and then there's a third space for you to go to meet with people, and to just be with people. And I think that is something that we have to recognize about community, is that for a lot of people, it is a place to be. I mean, I think that it really adds to it when you have shared values and that kind of thing, but that's not its only value. Its value is just that you're able to be there, that you're able to exist there outside of your home, outside of your work, be around other people, potentially meet people, but also just like be comfortable, be accepted. Just you're allowed to be there. That's what community is. And I think that is something that the world is sorely missing, and that we exist to change. Now, I did put some hopeful statistics, like in terms of like I think like you could kind of characterize what I put above in our institutions failing rather than communities failing. It's really that we had been relying on institutions to provide community spaces, but what we're seeing more recently is kind of these um, let's call them self-reliant bottom-up communities forming. So grassroots organizations, community-owned businesses, co-ops, and trusts. 75% of Gen Z wants to be part of something bigger, and 64% of them so that they would engage in local and community-based efforts. And 70% of Americans trust their neighbors. Only 16% of them trust the government, even their local government, but 70% of them trust their neighbors. And I think that is it's not just that communities have gone down, it's this idea that our institutions have been failing us. So yeah, I don't know, before we move on, I just wanted to kind of check in. Does this ring true to you? Anyone?
Well, I'll chime
Bueller?
in because I've said it before myself, so it sounds like I'm hearing myself. So yeah, I agree with you on that, but I don't want to be the only voice corroborating.
Yep. L in the chat says that it does ring true to her as well. Yeah. And so I think we've noticed this. I mean, it's why BCard exists in a lot of ways. It's because we saw this fervor of community in the Web3 space, and there was something about it that drew us to it. Yes, the technology. Yes, this idea that we could be self-sovereign, but also I think the idea that we were all here together. There was a place for us to go. There was this energy that was drawing us in, and that is really and truly important. And it's if you're here, I think like that is something that we should all align on. This idea that the world needs more community. And we exist to enable that community through revenue and engagement, but there are other values that we can bring as well. I think like we have said that we are going to help communities generate revenue engagement through Web3 tooling. If we have had more time to look at our communication strategy, one of the things that we could do to connect with these communities is to actually show them the tools in blog form, in video form, in podcast form. Hey, this is how we did it at Black Flag DAO. Hey, this is how Glow Dollar is doing it. Hey, this is what OMF is doing, right? Just like kind of showing how some of these bottom-up communities are functioning, some in the Web3 space, maybe some outside of the Web3 space, but whatever it is, that idea that it is possible to create a bottom-up community, and you, yes, you, the person listening to this right now, can do it as well. You can take that initiative yourself, or you can join a group that's already doing it and put your initiative there, right? That idea of empowerment, making people feel like they can actually accomplish something. That is why we exist as well. And I think some of it is kind of like show don't tell, but in other ways, we have to do the telling, right? And so I think that a lot of the people here have a wealth of experience in some of these bottom up communities. I mean, indeed, some of the people here are continuing to work on the same community that we started, that we all met in, right? And so I think that it's really important for us to kind of repackage that in a form that could potentially help other communities. There's lots of ways for us to help communities use Web3 tooling to generate revenue and engagement. One of them is to build the tools that they're using. That's what we're doing anyways. Like we're going to be working on that. Tom and I are working on it. Anyone who wants to help on the product side can help on it. Another way is to reach out to those communities and tell them about our product, onboard them, help them use our tooling. Another way is to talk about what we have been doing or what others are doing as well. And I think that that's really important because if we're looking at this idea that communities have been kind of put to the wayside over the last couple of decades, and also we have this hypothesis that communities are coming back, potentially in a different form, less institutional and more bottom up, then what we're really doing at BCard, some of these things I believe are inevitable. It is what happens in society. If you've ever heard of the fourth turning, it has this idea that society has this cyclical thing where there's a group of people who kind of come from a very difficult time. They build up institutions. Those institutions get captured, and they basically start extracting from people. And people start again and reject those old institutions and build new institutions from the ground up. It's called the fourth turning, and you could say that we're at the bottom right now for community. We're at the bottom, and the institutions are at the top. We have the height of institutions right now, and we need some sort of change. So we're riding a wave that may be inevitable, but it also means that we are on the right side of history too, if our timing is correct. Anyways, I've been talking a lot, but I'd love to hear from any and all of you. I mean, do you think that do you agree with this idea that communities are kind of like the once and future organization that we need? Do you believe that we need to put more work in it? Do you believe it's inevitable? Whatever it is, has this sparked any thought in you? Do I need to poke people?
I'm always talking, so I'm just trying to leave people space.
Feel free to talk,
But
Joyce.
yes, it definitely resonates with me. I mean, we see it in statistics. It's interesting to me when it seems like adversity tends to bring people together, especially when it's in your neighborhood, just like what you see, and even like places like Pacific Palisades in California, where people probably go home. They go into their garages and they probably don't really interact with their neighbors that much. I don't know because I don't live there. Um, or, but we've seen this other places where even if whether it's a snowstorm or something happens in the neighborhood, people come together even if they've never even met, and all of a sudden this adversity brings people together, and it's unfortunate that it has to be adversity that brings people together. It'd be nice if we can um, find these other ways to bring people together and find common ground, and without it always being political, and having fun. I think people have forgotten how to have fun together. Not always, but I think often. And I think facilitating that. You were talking before about showing, showing and telling, and it's both. We have to demonstrate it. We have to do the things we want to see in the world, and hopefully other people resonate with that and bring some other ideas as well. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, and I
Some of
also
these
think
things
that
are going to hit.
yeah, I also think that it's in a lot of the entrenched interest to keep people divided, right? Like this
Oh yeah.
idea that like, hey, if that person doesn't have the same politics as you shouldn't talk to them, even if they're your mom, right? Like that's just kind of like, it's in that political party's best interests to say that, and
Divide and conquer.
Exactly. Divide and conquer. And so I think it's like, and let's be clear, like there's no one political party doing this. There's no one political party benefiting from this. All political parties are benefiting from this kind of idea. And it's the state in general that benefits from that idea as well. I guess like there are good and bad things in the society that we built, right? Like I think that in general, having things like welfare, having things like the opportunity that it brings, allows people to kind of live outside of their family. And for people whose family is not a very supportive place, that's a really good thing, right? Like you can change your situation, but it also means that the state has more of a presence in your family, like that family bond doesn't need to be stronger, and so it can be less strong, right? And so I think that like there is a trade-off to some of the things that we do, and we need to recognize that those exist. Hey, NF Thinker.
Sorry, I did not realize I was unmuted. I unmuted earlier when you were poking people. The quick update, the Glow Dollar campaign is out on LinkedIn and Twitter from both Glow and us. Bram has offered $100 USD Glow if we can figure out a way to increase signups. So we can maybe brainstorm some ideas on ways that we would best use that $100, whether that is a sign up competition, double cashback, triple cashback. It could be make a transaction in the month of June and be in a chance to win $100. It could be anything like that. So any thoughts on that? I'm totally changing the topic here, but
Honestly, I think we should do like double or like just say like, because we have like we don't know how many users we're gonna get. Like I would say just like double or triple cashback. But then if we don't get all the way to the end of the month, like if we don't have like enough, like if we don't have $200 worth of thing, that's $200 is like how much of spending? That's like 20,000 worth of spending, right? So that's probably not going to happen. If that doesn't happen, then we just give it away and we say like, hey, everyone who was part of the Glow Dollar community in the month of let's say June, in the month of May or month of June, whatever it is, they got like 36x cash back, right? So that there's just this kind of like, hey, it could happen to you too, right? If that makes sense. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that makes sense. So we basically it's not quadratic, but it is equally weighted. If you spend $1 and there's double the amount of rewards in the treasury or in the bank at the end of the month, you get double points. If there's 36 times the amount, then you get 36 times the amount.
Yeah, and so it's like $100 is like 10,000 bucks worth of spending. So let's just say from now until the end of the month, you get 5x rewards, right? And so can we get 2,000 worth of spending? No, never mind, not 5x. Yeah, so let's say 2x and see if we can get to 5,000 worth of spending, right?
Okay, yeah, cool. I'll jot something down in the Telegram, and then feel free to jump in afterwards and share your thoughts. But yeah, so these are the types of things that I think are really going to make a difference when we get communities like Glow Dollar who say, hey, they see the value in the partnership because we're bringing more people into the Glow Dollar ecosystem, and they're willing to take a small risk to spend some money, spend some time, spend some form of capital to help us grow, which is in turn helping them grow. So, like I said, things like this can really, really help in the future. This is how we increase rewards. This is how you eventually get to the point of having like an airline VIP lounge, because that airline VIP lounge isn't straight up paid for by the credit card company. A lot of it is sponsored. A lot of it is put on by people who have an interest in attracting your customers. And that's exactly what we want to do. That's how we move forward with the reward side of things. Obviously, it's a really delicate thing as well, because we need to make sure that we're doing this in a way that fits with our values moving forward as well. We don't just want to shill our customer base out to people for ad money and revenue, et cetera, et cetera. But these types of integrations are great. It's like a mini grant. We can spend it on, rewards for people, and we can use our own funds for funding our side of things.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think we don't want to just like shill out our community, and like also it's like the community of our communities as well that we would be shilling out to, which would have like a double knock-on effect of being bad, right? And so we really need to do things that align, and it also means that we need to kind of be a little bit stronger in our purpose, right? Like our purpose is to enable other communities, and I think that is really we really need to beat that drum when we're making decisions as well. Anyways, I 100% agree with you.
Okay. Yeah, and then back to what we were discussing before in terms of communication strategy, we have to do the telling too. I like that because, it's how we grow. We have to tell our story. And I feel like we went through a growth arc for about a year when we were Bankless Card, when there were a lot of people joining in. We had, project people and branding people and designers involved. We were constantly updating the look of the app. And then I think, with a lot that happened in terms of Choke Point 2.0, banks going down, crypto going down, people sort of taking less interest in crypto projects overall, we kind of stopped telling the story because our story got a little lost. Like we didn't necessarily have a solid direction that we were headed, aka we didn't know what story to tell. And now that we've been through what I would say maybe a bit of the chasm, right? We've been across the chasm, and now we're coming out the other side. We have a lot of potential. We have a vision that is a lot clearer than it was before. And I think telling our story is going to become quite a bit easier.
Yeah. Not only that, I've noticed as well that maybe I'm talking a bit smaller than I used to, which is probably an issue as well. I was reading a book, written by Arnold Schwarzenegger, or maybe ghostwritten, I'm not sure. But one of the things he said is never think small. And that kind of really stuck with me, because I remember in the earlier days I was talking about we want to be our own bank eventually. We want to be like to become the bank, and I kind of stopped talking about that because of Operation Choke Point 2, and I didn't want our card issuer to just kind of say no, that's not good, you're out, right? And so I do think that it's a little bit more. I do think that thinking big and talking big, showing that long-term vision in some ways, and then like kind of reconciling that with what we're doing today, that's kind of how you draw that interest, if that makes sense. And if we are really, let's say, like unembarrassed or unashamed, unabashed, I think is the right word, about who we are, I think that it can draw the right kinds of people towards us, the right kind of communities towards us. For me, it's really about that idea of enabling bottom up communities, right? And part of that is banking the unbanked, allowing people to use some of these tools, to use money even when they're not one of those bigger games in town, right? And so we're really able to democratize access to those tools. But yeah, looking at what the implications of that could be, extrapolating it into the future 10, 20 years, and what that snowball could look like, I think is really important for us to talk about too. All right. We're coming up on time here. Anything anyone else wants to share? All right. One of the reasons I brought up this whole thing around community and our communication strategy is that in a perfect world, if I had unlimited time, I would be doing some of these things like writing, like, sitting down with OMF and telling their story, sitting down with Glow Dollar and writing a little article and telling their story, maybe talking with them and putting up a YouTube video or something like that, right? But a lot of the people here have the ability to do that too, right? A lot of the people outside of this organization can do that too. And so ultimately, all I'm saying is that if we lean into the idea that this is a decentralized organization, that anyone can make a difference, then any one of you can kind of pick that up. And it's on me to kind of make it more clear what could help. But that's the reason I'm bringing this up as well. That if you want to do the telling, this is the place for you to do it. If you really want to increase the amount of communities in the world or increase the amount of power that communities have, this is the place to do it in any way that you like. But I'll try to make it more clear how anyone who's joining might be able to do that. For now, I just want to say thank you to all of you for being here. It is no small thing to show up week after week. It is no small thing to put yourself out there. And I think that it's really important because if you didn't, then others wouldn't too. Just you being here gives others an excuse to be here, gives others an excuse to continue executing, gives others an excuse to feel the way that they feel. And that is really important because we live in a world where no matter which direction you turn, someone is telling you how to think, how to feel, what you should do. And so when you show up to a place where you want to do the things that you want to do, it makes more space for others to do the same. BCard isn't something that one person can make a success. It is a thing that honestly millions of people have to work together to make it a success. So starting with this group here, I think we can make that happen. I've never stopped thinking that. And it's true that the path is uncertain, but as long as we keep pushing forward together, I think that we'll get there. So thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you all.
Thank you, Lynx. Always appreciate your upbeat and inclusive tone.
All right, all the best, everyone, and we will get that Glow Dollar campaign out so everyone can kind of give that a little like, a little recast if you can. Appreciate you. Talk to you later.
All right, thanks. See ya.